Are you wondering if your child's behavioral challenges or meltdowns are normal behavior, or is this just a phase?
Well, we're going to talk about that today, and we're going to talk about how to know if your child needs occupational therapy services.
Just a quick reminder, we are doing a free live webinar all about sensory strategies in the classroom on April 16th at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time.
This webinar is designed for parents, therapists, teachers, anyone working with students in the classroom.
You don't want to miss this because we are doing a live Q&A at the end, and this is our all-time favorite part of doing these live webinars.
You'll also get some freebies when you register, and if you can't make it to the live, register anyways because you will be emailed the recording and all of the free handouts afterwards.
Plus, if you are an OT practitioner, you will earn AOTA CEUs after completing your post-test.
All right, we will include the link below so you can register now.
See you then. Hi there, I'm Rachel.
And I'm Jessica, and we are the Certified Occupational Therapy Assistants with Harkla, and April is OT month, so we are going to be talking about all things OT, why we love it, what it is also.
We love it, we do love it.
And then, like we mentioned in the beginning, we're going to talk about some signs on how to know if your child might benefit from OT.
First of all, let's break down what occupational therapy is. Let's, get the elephant out of the room. We are not helping people find jobs. No, we are helping people with their daily occupations. So things like getting dressed, eating breakfast, transitioning, emotional regulation, anything that you do during your day to get from point A to point B to point Z, we help you get there with adaptations, with modifications, with skills building. We do it all, honestly. It's great.
We do. And for children specifically, we are working on all of their activities of daily living, all the ones that Rachel mentioned, plus social skills, play skills, and learning just how to be more independent with all the things that they're doing so that as they grow, they can feel successful in life.
And we achieve those goals and we help them meet those goals through their main occupation, which is play. So a lot of the activities and interventions that we provide, we find out what the child is interested in. If they are loving Legos, and we do activities surrounding Legos or Paw Patrol or whatever it is, we break it down and we build those skills up through using play.
Yes. Now, one question that we get all the time from parents is, how do I know if my child actually needs to go to OT? How do I know if they need an evaluation? And how do I know if the challenges they're going through are normal or typical and something that they will grow out of? It's just a phase. Or is there some underlying challenge that's making it more difficult to get through their day and I need professional help?
Now, our rule of thumb really comes down to when in doubt, rule it out. We're going to go into more detail, of course, but if you have any concerns at all, it's not going to hurt just to request an occupational therapy evaluation from your pediatrician. You do have to get a referral. So if you say, hey, I'm having concerns with my child's sensory processing, with their reflexes, with their ability to transition without melting down, everyday activities are really challenging to get through, just get an evaluation. And the worst that they could say is, nope, you don't need it, you're good, just keep on doing what you're doing. Here are some skills that you can address. Or, yes, let's work on these. Let's get your child into OT once or twice a week. Let's work on these underlying skills and build them up and improve their independence.
Yep. One of the first things that we look at when we're working with children in the clinic setting or in home therapy or in the school setting are sensory challenges. So it's something that we talk about a lot here on the YouTube channel. We also talk about it a lot on our podcast, All Things Sensory. But sensory processing challenges really can have a huge impact on getting through the day successfully. And when we look at sensory challenges, we look at, is a child's sensory system over responsive? Are they having big reactions to sensory input, which causes meltdowns, fight or flight reactions? Or are they having more sensory seeking challenges where they are seeking out more sensory input to the point that it's interfering with getting through their day? Seeking out movement in the classroom, which impacts their ability to pay attention. Seeking out oral input, which impacts safety, things like that.
The next thing we look at are their motor skills, their fine motor skills, their gross motor skills, visual motor skills, ocular motor skills. There's so many motor skills that we look at. Can they balance on one foot? Can they hold a pencil? Can they button their shirt? Can they hold a utensil? All of these underlying motor skills sometimes require more interventions in order to get them to a level of independence, right? Or sometimes they need modifications. So we need to use a thicker handle on their fork in order to give them the best ability to use to self-feed, right? So there's a lot of modifications, a lot of adaptations, and a lot of skill building that we can work on their motor skills.
Yep. Another sign would be if they're having behavioral or emotional regulation challenges, things like huge meltdowns every single day, anxiety that causes them to avoid certain situations or certain environments. Maybe they are having big behavioral emotional responses at school that's impacting their ability to stay in the classroom and learn and interact. Things like that. Another one are developmental delays. Now this is more specific for infants and toddlers. If they are missing developmental milestones, if they are struggling with tummy time, if they are not able to sit upright, if they're not rolling over from both directions, if they're not transitioning into crawling on hands and knees, if they're not transitioning to pulling themselves to stand and starting to walk, if these milestones are delayed or missing, that is a big sign that OT services are going to be super helpful.
Yep, and one more thing to look for is just poor coordination, uncoordinated with, typical childhood activities like hopscotch or balancing on one foot or going up and down stairs. If they're not jumping by the age of 2, if you're seeing challenges with body awareness and it's really impacting the child's ability to get through the day. The key here is, are these things impacting the child's ability to get through their daily occupations? And if you are listening to this and you're like, oh my gosh, yes, like every day is really, really challenging to get through, then yes, occupational therapy can be really helpful.
Yes. Now, the next step, once you've identified these are the challenges my child is having and I think I need to look into OT, the next step is to talk to your pediatrician and ask for a referral. Now, we have experienced a lot of pediatricians who wait and see or say, no, this is just a phase. So if that's the experience you're having with your pediatrician, we highly encourage you to find a different pediatrician who will listen to your concerns and follow through with this, because you are the parent, you are the best advocate for your child. So if you have that feeling deep down that something's just not quite right, that maybe you need a little bit of help, make sure you find a professional who is going to listen to you and help you out with this.
Plus, we know how important early intervention is. So the sooner you can help your child, the sooner you'll start making progress and you'll be able to help them. So if you are concerned and you have a young child, or even if you have a child who's 14, the faster you can provide help to them, the better off it will be for everyone.
Now, one last thing we want to mention is if you do get in for an OT evaluation for your child, you want to make sure that you have your concerns ready to go, because the OT is going to ask you questions, you're going to fill out some forms, but if you have really specific concerns for your child, make sure you write them down so that you don't forget anything and that you don't get nervous, because sometimes it can be an overwhelming situation when your child's getting an OT evaluation. But just really make sure that you ask the OT about these specific concerns that you have for your child. Make sure that they are going to be addressed in a good way that will be helpful for you and for your child, because really what you want is a good OT who's going to help give you ideas and strategies that you can carry over at home and at school and wherever your child spends time.
And you also want to make sure that they take the time to build rapport with your child and with you as well. If you feel like there just isn't a good connection, that's okay. You can always find another OT, or you can request a different therapist if there are a variety of therapists at the clinic that you're at. But you really want to make sure that your child enjoys going there, and if they are pushing back for any reason, if you can sit in on a session, if you can really try to find out why that pushback is it because it's new and it's challenging and it's different? Sometimes that's okay. Or are you finding that the therapist just isn't really vibing with your child, they're just sitting at a desk for the entire 50-minute session? That's something that we want to avoid, and we want to say, hey, this isn't quite the right fit for us, we're going to try something different. You have to advocate for your child, and you have to say, this is what we want, this is what we're hoping to get out of occupational therapy. Basically, you work for us, so we want to make sure we get what we want from this process, because it's time consuming, it's expensive, and we really just want to make sure that children are thriving and they're meeting their goals.
Yes. Now, we do have a few other YouTube videos that will be helpful as you're starting occupational therapy and going through this journey. We will link them below.
If you liked this video, if you found it helpful, make sure you give it a thumbs up, make sure you're subscribed to our channel, and make sure you send it to someone who could also potentially benefit from learning about OT.
Make sure you're also following us on Instagram. We're at Harkla_family, as well as at All Things Sensory Podcast.
Don't forget to listen to our podcast as well. You can listen to it on YouTube or you can listen to it on any podcast platform. It's just All Things Sensory.
Yep, and with that, we will see you for another video next week.
Okay, bye.
Autism X. We're at All Things Harkla. We're at All Things Harkla.
No, we need to like subscribe to all the videos. Okay.